How does using multiplication or division to solve an inequality compare to using the same operations to solve an equation? Think about this question during the lesson. Gina's pet pot-bellied pig is on a diet. It can have no more than 18 ounces of pig food per day. The bag's label says that each scoop holds 4 ounces of food. How many scoops can Gina feed the pig without going over 18 ounces?
Since the problem states that the pig can have no more than 18 ounces, we can write an inequality to represent the situation. The number of ounces per scoop times the number of scoops she feeds him must be less than or equal to the maximum daily number of ounces. Which part of the inequality is unknown?
Select your answer.
The number of scoops is the unknown. Use the variable s to represent the number of scoops. Each scoop holds 4 ounces. The maximum daily number of ounces is 18. Why should the inequality use the symbol for less than or equal to? The total can be equal to, but not greater than 18. You can solve the inequality just like you would solve an equation.
Use the inverse relationship between multiplication and division and the division property of inequality to isolate the variable. The number of scoops, s, is less than or equal to 4 5/10, or 4 1/2.
Now let's graph the solution to our inequality. The maximum value of s is 4 1/2. Let's check that our solution is reasonable in this situation. Gina can use parts of a scoop, so s can include fractions and decimals. However, Gina cannot feed the pig a negative amount of food. Gina can feed her pet pig up to 4 1/2 scoops of food.
They started the steps for us, so we have to do the inverse of division here. So we're going to multiply, which is the inverse, by 7 on both sides so that we can get d by itself. We put back our symbol of greater than. Then when we multiply 7 on both sides, these cancel out. We're left with d. d is greater than 15 times 7, and that 15 times 7 equals 105. So d is greater than 105. So now we move to our number line or graph, and we're gonna place it. So d is greater than 105. So 105 is here, and so I'm gonna have a open circle because my symbol is greater than, which means d cannot equal 105. It has to be greater than 105. So that means that if it's open, it does not include 105, but it includes every single number that is greater than 105. And having that open circle is very important.
Solve the inequality negative 3 4/10 times m is less than or equal to 17. Then graph the solution.
Complete the first step of the solution. So we have negative 3/4 m. Negative 3/4 m is a part of our original inequality. So that would go here. And then we have the less than or equal to symbol here. So that is here. That goes here. And then 17. And that will go here. Now you see the line that represents the division, because negative 3/4 times m. To get m by itself on this side of the inequality, we must do the inverse, which is dividing. So that's where the line comes in. That's the division bar. So we're going to divide by negative 3/4 on both sides of the inequality. So that goes on both sides. And then once we solve it, let's go to the next slide. You see exactly that right here. And so we solve the 17 divided by negative 3/4, and you get negative 5. And then we graph it here, and you have a closed circle because we have that equal. So m can be equal to negative 5, and it also can be greater. So we have a closed circle and then the arrow going to the right for all the numbers that are greater than negative 5.
Solve the inequality. Then graph the solution. Part A. 149 76 is greater than negative 19 2/10 times x.
Let's solve for the inequality. So we have to do the inverse of multiplication because we have negative 19 2/10. That is being multiplied by x. So we are going to take that negative 19 2/10 and divide it on both sides of the inequality. And so these cancel out. We have an x. Our symbol changes directions because now the negative is being, we're using a negative, and so the direction of the symbol must change. And so the 149 76 divided by the negative 19 2/10 is equal to negative 7 8/10. And so now we must graph that on our number line. And as you can see, there is no line underneath that symbol, so there is no equal to. So that tells us that our circle has to be open. So we're going to have an open circle on top of the negative 7 8/10. So that's going to be about there. And because x is greater than the negative 7 8/10, our arrow is going to go this direction for all of those numbers that are greater than negative 7 8/10. Okay, part B, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to solve the inequality. We have negative 3 25/100 times y. So we need to divide on both sides of the inequality. Negative 3 and 25/100. And so it cancels out on this side. We have y by itself. And then the symbol, again, when we are dividing by a negative integer, we have to change the direction of the symbol. So now that symbol goes this direction to be greater than. And now negative 61 75/100 divided by the 3 25/100 is going to equal 19. And so now we have to graph our inequality, and we do not have, again, a line underneath our symbol because it's not equal to, so it has to be an open circle. So we look for 19, and 19 is going to be about here, and we're going to have an open circle, and then it's y greater than 19, so it'll be all of these numbers in that direction. And that's it.
Solve the inequality r divided by -2 and 25/100ths is greater than or equal to 7. Then graph the solution.
They are multiplying the -2 and 25/100ths on both sides. They changed the direction of the symbol because we are doing using a negative. And so because of that, that changes. And now that cancels out. We're left with r. 7 times -2 and 25/100ths is -15 and 75/100ths. And now we have the graph. We have a closed circle because of that equal sign there. And so it's a closed circle on top of 15 and 75/100ths. And then r is less than that number. So we're going to go to the left. Every number that is less than the -15 and 75/100ths. Now let's try solving the inequality and graphing it. So we're going to get k by itself. We have to multiply by the -0 and 5/10. And so we do that on both sides of the equation, or sorry, inequality. And this will cancel out. And then we are left with k. The symbol changes direction. And then we have 12 times -0 and 5/10 is equal to -6. Now we need to graph the inequality. We do not have that line that indicates being equal, so we're going to excuse me, find -6. -6 will be closer to this -5, and we're going to have an open circle here, and then it is k is greater than -6, so our arrow is going to go this direction to indicate all of those numbers greater than -6 will be a solution to that inequality. And let's look at B. We have -5/4 times h is greater than or equal to 25. We're going to divide -5/4 on both sides. It's going to cancel out on this side. We're left with h. Our symbol will change direction, so that it's going to be now less than or equal to. And then 25 divided by -5/4 is going to equal -20. And now we need to graph this on our number line. So we do have the line that indicates being equal to. So we're going to start with -20, and it's going to be a closed circle because it can equal -20, and then its h is less than -20, so our line will go to the left to indicate all of the numbers less than -20 will be a possible solution.